Afternoon, how are you all doing? How is everybody? Sorry, I'm a bit late. Doing other things. Afternoon, Crom, John, Ian, Astro, how are we all doing? Evans, XR, update.news, Andres, Virginia, how are we doing? So, banked a bit of cash today, 1.49%. Bit of weird news, but nothing particularly exciting. Afternoon, Brian, Steve, JC. So, afternoon, Stefan. News this afternoon, we had the housing starts at 1.43 off of 1.48, which isn't really anything, doesn't really mean anything much. So, the main news, obviously, today has been the CPI for the pound. There's no more news this afternoon, so we're straight into unemployment tomorrow for Australia. Other news today, the only other news we've had was the Goldman miss. So, Goldman Sachs missed the profit target on its earnings, which I haven't got open. Earnings, there we are. So yeah, Goldman Sachs missed its earnings. So we'll see what happens to their stock price basically when they open. But yeah, should be probably a little bit of a tumble on Goldman today. So we had a little bit of a hit on the Dow. We had a drop on that here, which I made a lovely amount of money on. I posted this in a Telegram group. There was a symmetrical triangle formation. I took a break of that symmetrical triangle short. Literally 10 minutes after I took the short, it went. So I got out down here. Made a nice, quick $700 odd this morning. And then I tried to get in short again on the pullback, expecting it to go down, and I've just been stopped out for 200 there. So 550 up for the morning, which isn't bad for a Globex session. Quite happy with that. So yeah, so back to basically where we started with that. Little bit of a push up, but it's a fair old bit of volatility today in the markets. So we'll see what happens at the open, but you can see obviously there's been a fair bit of movement on the Dow. S&P's been a little flatter, and the NASDAQ has had a little bit of a push up. So all a bit tricky today. DAX opening range breakout was lovely today. So ORB made 2.5 grand this morning. So ORB on the DAX, we flipped long, hit that resistance at the weekly level, which we looked at, stopped out on the long, flipped short, and took 2 TPs. So that was TP1. As soon as we hit TP1, I put a trailer on the second position, which got out there. So bagged 2.5 grand this morning. Lost 2K on the push, made 4 on the pull. So nice ORBs today. So we'll see how we get on with the US this afternoon. Not quite sure what this afternoon session is going to do, because the earnings really kick off tomorrow. We've got IBM, Netflix, and Tesla after market. So all of this price action is going to trickle into tomorrow's session. And then we've got 5 pre-market announcements before the open tomorrow. So we've got a total of 8 stocks being announced before tomorrow's open. So tomorrow's open is going to be pretty volatile. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to get today, but we'll see. Possibly a load of volatility. Afternoon, Baggy, Gordy, even, Jerry, Neo. So, banked a fair bit this morning. I flipped long on the pound US dollar. Nope, I haven't. Pound CAD, sorry. Oh, and the pound US I have as well. This is because I changed the all the settings on the market reversal alerts EA. So, because I changed it all, basically, it's been managing my short positions, but it will also be now taking longs. So I've got a long on this. I've just got out of the shorts on the pound CAD and banked those. I'm not 100% on going long on the pound, but we are already at a 50% retracement. So I don't think it's actually that dangerous. If we can get a little bit of a pullback, I'll be happy probably just to take that off, to be honest. But obviously the negative news today on the pound has meant we've had a little tumble across the board. But it's not actually that big of a tumble. It's 125 ADR, 175 on the pound Swiss because the Swiss is still rallying. But everything else, as you can see, it's not actually that big a drop on these. So it's a tricky read at the moment, the pound. I've got some more I can bank on it, but I'm going to leave it for the minute. ADRs today, all New Zealand dollar based and pound based, the majority. We have had a bit of movement on the yen today as well. So CAD yen closed that out this morning. That was a nice pound CAD 150 of its weekly range. Shouldn't have got out the pound CAD. So that's a nice quick in and out on that one. There's a few other yens, basically. We've had some decent rallies to the upside. So there's a few ADR reversals, but there's quite a few opportunities there to have a look at. We've got 3 minutes to the open, so I won't go through all those now. We'll have a quick whiz through them after the open. RSIs, there's a lot of RSIs, obviously all pound-based, most of them. So pound Swiss, got this long on the pound Swiss. This thing's still coming down. Swiss franc's got some decent strength at the moment. Really good strength on this Swiss franc. Everything's coming down against the Swissy. Starting to roll over on the Aussie though. So yeah, 3 in on that. Waiting. US dollar Swiss completely sideways for 4 days now. So it just shows you how strong this US dollar's been. Swiss franc's been absolutely killing everybody, and this has gone sideways, which tells you that this US dollar's got almost as much power as the Swissy at the moment because it's holding it in place. As soon as that Swissy takes its foot off the gas, we get a pop. We'll have to wait though. So looking at the US indices, upside target on the Dow today is anywhere you like. We're out the highs, so we could go absolutely anywhere today on the Dow. This is what we looked at as the ultimate kind of high. We've just broken it today. So if this is going to go long today and we're going to get a rally after what we got yesterday, this could absolutely fly today as well. We could have another 100 ADR, 150 ADR day on our hands. So very tricky, the Dow. We are coming up to Globex highs as well. Yeah, so we're just coming up to test that high. So we'll watch this high and see where we go, but there's a strong chance of a pullback into this area to see if we can retest it. S&P 500 out the highs as well. NASDAQ approaching the highs. So we've got resistance coming up pretty much immediately at the open. So we'll watch what happens. See where we go. But I'm not sure about taking pre-markets today. We've either got quite a tight range on the pre-market or we are pushing. And I hate getting into trades while we're pushing pre-market. I'd rather wait for that 5-minute candle to go in and then decide what to do after that. So as we're pushing high, I'd probably leave the pre-markets alone maybe today, but up to you. Dow gone long. NASDAQ's left alone, S&P's left alone. So we wait for these 5-minute opening ranges to go in. So with this Dow, we're out the highs. So, you know, upside target today, same as yesterday. There isn't one. We're in new territory now. That was the last chance saloon, that high. We're in uncharted territory. So this is either now going to reject this high or we're off and running. So we'll see what happens. This is the level we're at. So it's either pull back down from there or it's new highs today. At the moment, it's trying to rally long. So there's your pre-market range. That's the pre-market 15. I'll take it. Okay, we're pulling back off of yesterday's high on the NASDAQ. S&P Seems to completely stopped, look. Just completely stopped, look. Quiet. Dow's still rallying. After the morning I've had, I'm quite tempted to just take that, you know. Banked 2.5 this morning. That's another 2. It's 6.5 yesterday. That's 10 grand in 2 days. But are we going to get another rally like we did yesterday? Quite surprised we're getting this with Goldman, but we'll see. We'll see. Afternoon, Grey. Afternoon, Monkey. So we just wait for these candles to play out. We've got 2 minutes on these. This could be... so if you've taken the Dow pre-market there, depending on obviously where you've put your stop, you've got 2R. If you're using stop under the low of the 15 range, I'm using a wider stop. So my... I'm not even 1R yet on it, but there's a 2R on that initial break. It is holding as well. NASDAQ reversing. So there you go. This is the danger of running these pre-markets. Yeah, as we discussed yesterday, this opening cash balance candle is literally just a load of random orders for stock purchase. Yeah, so it can fly like this. It can whipsaw and go nowhere, or it can do a massive move and then literally do nothing after that. Yeah, it's impossible to tell what is going to play out, so you just have to play the momentum. So if you've taken the pre-market on the NASDAQ, you've gone long, you've got a break to the upside, which is probably about 1R. You've come back down, you've flipped short, and you're now running shorts. And obviously that loss, same as the DAX this morning. We went long there, stopped out, flipped short, made the money on the short. Go with the momentum. The whole purpose of the ORB, EA, and strategy. It's a big candle on that NASDAQ. Don't even want to really take that 5 minute. Too big. After a day like that yesterday, it's very hard after, you know, looking at what we had yesterday to imagine the market being able to replicate that 2 days on the trot. It has in the past many times, but you just have to think the guys that are long this haven't got out yet. If they're starting a second leg up, how much more are people going to be able to sell to them before they run out of people that are just not willing to get involved in this? We'll see. Okay, so we're pulling back. There's your 5 minute opening range on the Dow. So 5 minute ORB is huge. 5 minute ORB on the NASDAQ, far too big today. S&P, we'll get on that. But that's too big a candle, that. Okay. See how we get on. So long on the Dow. You're short NASDAQ if you take the pre-market. Looks like it's going to try and break short on the NASDAQ as well. In which case, the S&P will probably get dragged down if that does go short. So ideally, don't want to really flip long, please, if that's going to do that. You going to hedge me? Make your mind up. Thinking about it. Really thinking about it. Must be long. There we go. Long on the S&P. So looking for the NASDAQ to come back up and retest that high ideally. If the NASDAQ collapses out the lows, this thing's going to probably drop with it. So let's see if the S&P can drag the NASDAQ with it today. Afternoon, Michael. Ezekiel, afternoon. Do you use pre-15 plus 5 in ORB? Yeah, that's a good strategy. Up to you. There's no right or wrong with any of this. Any momentum play is entirely up to you, which you take. I know as much as you do about which way it's going to go at the open. Same as everybody else, yeah? So you get in with the momentum. At the moment, the momentum on the Dow Jones is long, get in long. S&P is long. NASDAQ hasn't actually decided where it wants to go yet. So you're taking the 5-minute ORB on the NASDAQ, an inside bar at the moment. You've not got any directional bias whatsoever. If you're taking the 15-minute, as I just said, you've gone long, you've flipped short. Now you're back to where you started. So if you didn't take profit on one of those ORBs or both, you're short at the moment. If you're trading both of these markets, you're long on that one and short on that one, which doesn't help because these two tend to go the same way. This one can go where the hell it likes. So bear with me one sec. I'm just pressing wrong buttons. Bear with me a second. Okay, so we're a little bit stuck there. We paused a little bit. So we're going to have a look at the FX market. Looking to enter long on the Dow. Yeah, go for it. Take the 5-minute ORB. It's a pretty big range, though. So, you know, we're going to need a big, strong day to make money out of that one today, I think. You're going to need a decent follow through, but it will happen. You know, there's every chance that it can happen. So ADRs today. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar was a big ADR hit, 125. Blimey, that's coming down like a house of cards, isn't it? So yes, your 5-minute reversal alert. Frozen up. Excuse me, just wait for this to unlock. Pound odd 125 ADR, pound Swiss 150 ADR. A lot of movement. So Aussie New Zealand, we had the ADR hit this morning. 5-minute reverse alert was there. It's a tricky one because you got all that distance, but it's nicely gone short. Swiss yen was a 5-minute. Your 5-minute reverse alert was originally there. You didn't quite get one off of that, but that was a big, strong push up to 125 ADR. So that would have been your entry this morning on this. No, it wouldn't actually, because that wasn't an ADR, was it? We hadn't hit ADR. So no entry yet on this. It is extended, so ready to get into short the Swiss yen. Euro odd. Just had the reversal off of 100 ADR on that one. So it pushed straight into ADR. Just had the reversal. Again, a lot of these have been really big, strong pushes today because of all this news on the New Zealand and the pound. So a lot of these reversal alerts are really big, quite difficult to get into today. Not the best in the world, unfortunately. Euro pound. So took that one there. So this is an H1M5 mean reversion entry. So just taking that first entry there, short against the pound. That was this morning. That was that candle there. So that was your first reversal alert today. And then since then, we've just trended up nicely, and we're still going. So we're approaching 225 ADR, which is not often we get to 225 ADR. 2% of the year it will get to those sorts of levels. But Euro's had a good day. Swiss has had a good day. Pound's had a nightmare with its CPI figure. So perfect storm. Euro and Swiss bullish against the pound. Sec. Just moving some stuff. Doesn't look particularly good, this S&P. It's not actually managing to get any traction, and neither is the Dow. We'll look at that again in a sec. Afternoon, Peter. How much percentage on average do you gain per month? Varies wildly. It depends. Gold, we'll have a look at that in a second. Euro pound, big extension. Euro yen, as you can see with this one, again, same sort of thing. We had 100 ADR, beautiful extension. That's come down nicely. So you'd be in and out of that one already. If you're looking for sort of a third of an ADR to half an ADR as a reward, you got 67, which is half an ADR out of that. So you would have been in and out of that one already. Euro New Zealand, we had the reverse alert there on this. So I got mine there. Then we pushed up, just made new highs. New reverse alert went in. That's dropped. So that one's already on its way down. Pound odd hit to the downside. So with all of these pounds, basically, as I said this morning in the Telegram group, just be careful with these pounds. They could well recover from this. This move isn't as strong as I was expecting it to be. So I think basically we could have a nice little bounce on the way down. And I think it will still come down. So these are valid longs to take, but don't get too overexposed on it, because obviously if this pound does collapse now for a few days, which potentially is on the cards, it's a bad CPI number. Well, it's good. It's good for the UK, but bad for the currency. So, you know, take the reverse alerts. You haven't had one. You're not going to get one until there on this one. But if you want to take them, if you get some movement, get them to break even fairly quick, because if these do not hold, they will come down hard. I'd much rather be in attempting to get a little bit of profit and then break even on it than I would be in a position on these long term if they decide to rally en masse. So just be a bit careful with them. Pound CAD. So again, look, got that first one on there off the H1M5 mean reversion. So that was your first reversal alert. Just collapsed. Now down at 150 ADR. Shouldn't have got out of the short. Look, never mind. Pound Swiss, same thing. Yeah, collapsing. Swiss franc is very, very strong at the moment. Pound is absolutely getting killed. So that's the same as the euro pound, basically. Pound New Zealand, again, hit to the downside. Wait for the reverse alert. You're at 100 ADR. So potential reverse alert is going to come in somewhere around there. Just look for a bit of a pullback and then protect it. I'm already short on this one at the moment. So I've got this protected. In fact, I might trail this now. So just going to stick a trailer on behind that hourly candle. Take that TP off. Actually, I'll leave the TP there. Might as well. If we do rally down to 175 ADR and hit that propulsion, I'll get out of that propulsion. That's my target. But if we push back up, I'll get out. Might tighten that up a bit. So pound US dollar, again, big drop. I'm short on this, hedged on it now as well, because the EA has taken a long for me as well. TP is just above this high. Again, just going to trail this. 19. Annoying. Okay. So just trailing those two. And that did get stop on. So trailing down to target. So yeah, no reason to change those targets there. So looking for a test of that high, or potentially that high or that low, somewhere around there in that propulsion gap, looking for a pullback on that move. So have one long on. We'll take a second long down here. New Zealand dollar CAD. Not going anywhere on these indices. First buy on that one. Down here, we should get some New Zealand dollar strength on. So this is ADR. We've had the 5-minute reversal alert already down there. There you go. So that was your reversal alert there. Entry. Haven't gone anywhere since we got that on. So we should get a bit of New Zealand dollar strength off the back of the New Zealand dollar news, but we haven't had it so far today. New Zealand dollar Swiss, that one's pushed up a little bit, but again, stuck sideways. No strength in the New Zealand. This is ADR. That was your entry. And New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Again, same thing. They're all exactly the same, all of these, basically. So there you go. So there's all your ADRs. Weekly hits, you've got a few to look at as well there. They're all the same thing. So Euro Pounds, Euro New Zealand, Pound CAD, Pound Swiss, Pound US, New Zealand CAD, New Zealand Swiss. So all these ADRs basically here are all weeklies as well. So they're all extended beyond their weekly ranges, likely to start a pullback. Let's just quickly catch up on what the indices are up to. So we are coming down on the S&P. NASDAQ's retested the highs. Whippy thing today, the NASDAQ. Look. 5-minute ORB, you would be triggered long. Dow's stuck. S&P's stuck for the last 10 minutes. So really no volume at the minute. Not waiting for any news. So have to see if anything moves today. See if we can get some momentum going. Right, RSIs. We'll have a look at all the RSIs. Pound dollar, we'll have a look at that. That's on the RSI list. Aussie dollar Swiss. So a lot of these RSIs on the hourly, you're probably going to find are ADR extensions as well, because obviously to get extended on the RSI, you tend to get extended on the ADR as well a lot of the time. So Aussie dollar Swiss, first entry was there. Second entry's just gone in this morning on that one. RSI extended below the 30 level. The 4-hour RSI is below 25. So again, very nice extension. This has been fairly orderly in its pullback. So last entry I had was there on this one. There was an entry in there as well. But yeah, market structure is lovely. Just nice orderly pushes and pulls. So looking for a pushback up into that low. So those two positions there. I've got TPs at the moment up here, which is where we did that little break and retest. So that area there potentially is a good retest area if you look at the hourly. So this propulsion gap here, which is where we broke these lows, we retested that multiple times over those 2 days. We came back, tested it again, and they slammed it. So looking for another retest of that area, basically. But I will probably be out in this propulsion gap now. So now that was my first entry looking for that target. Now I've got 2 entries on. My average is back down here. So that propulsion target gives me a nice profit. So I'm just going to move TP down on that one. Down into there. That one on. Okay. So targeting that propulsion. So if that market structure continues, be out on that. Swiss yen. Big extension to the upside on the hourly. Didn't quite get the 75 level before it started to roll over. So if you had got the, if you're trading off the 70, you're still actually having an entry. There's no entry on this yet today. We didn't get the reversal alert. It's holding up. So weakness in the yen. So that's extended on the 4-hour. To the upside. So this is the only one of the yen pairs at the moment that's managed to make a new high since the pullback, because that Swiss franc has been so strong with all that US dollar and that Canadian dollar that's been pulled out. It's been put straight into the Swissy, so that's rallied to the upside. Euro odd. That one's just pushed out above the monthly high. Extended just above the 70 level. Hourly, we didn't get the trigger on that one. So only had 2 trades on this month. Textbook range trades. Straight in, straight out with the EA. So that was nice. But no entry on that one. That's only just extended on the 4 hour. So Euro pound is the big one at the minute. That's extended on the hourly up there. 4 hourly, we're up there as well. So looking at this, yeah, this level that we're at right now. Forget this. That's Liz Truss screwing up the UK economy and Bailey bailing us out of it. So ignore that. Last time we were there was here and here. Yeah. So it was off of this big rally. There's your pullback. 38 to 50 retracement. And that big rally there was an A-shaped recovery. We're back basically in the same thing. So we're looking for at least a pullback, 38, 50%, if it's going to continue to the upside. If it's going to continue to the downside, doesn't matter. It's coming down, doesn't it? So nice extension on the 4 hour there. Hourly, we haven't been up here for ages. So where we are here, look, this is above and beyond norms. So the euro has been rallying along with the Swiss franc, which it always does. The pound has got its negative CPI. So we've had a big rally with the Swiss franc strength, and all of a sudden then the pound has fallen over. We've put in a 225 ADR. So this thing is absolutely shot. Last time we were anywhere near it, we got an A-shaped recovery off of it. So at least looking for a pullback into propulsion. If not, a 50% retracement on the move, if it's going to go long. But we are going to need some pound strength. They're going to need to take profit on this move. So we need to look upside for potential risks on it. So there's the first entry this morning. This accumulation here, or area of balance, whatever you want to call the range, yeah, is likely to find some sellers in it because we met equilibrium there. So we know that this is an area the market is happy to buy and sell at, and did for 2 weeks solid and didn't move. So we're likely to find at least a pause in there. So market moves from balance, price discovery, into balance, into price discovery, gets to balance, moves back into price discovery, back into balance. So we're looking basically for some kind of pullback out of this. But first entry's on. Second entry will be going in, I think, today as well, by the looks of things. 35. Depends how tight the M5 reverse alert is. No, that's far too close. I'm not going to get that. So nice 3-bar reversal going in on 5-minute chart. Push, pause, pull. Good entry. So you could take a short there on price action at 225 ADR. You know, 225 ADR. So look at the odds. There's a 98% chance we will not go beyond that level. Those are the stacks. Yeah. So there was a 3% chance we wouldn't go beyond 200. We did. Market does what it wants to do, but it's rare that we get beyond that. And it's usually some kind of propulsion move. Dow's out the highs. NASDAQ's completely confused with itself. But the Dow has just made new high on the day. Not far away from TP on that. So yeah, that's Euro pound, massively extended. So massive extension on the hourly, massive extension on the 4 hourly. Things shot. Yeah. So retest propulsion. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I'm just not sure about the pound. So I've seen many times a big strong move and then a complete undoing of it, and then a continuation. I've seen many times a big strong move, an accumulation, and fly. Off we go. We don't come back for days. Yeah. So this will either become orphaned or retested within the next couple of days. If you look at the news we've got coming up potentially that could throw a spanner in the works, we've got the Aussie dollar news tomorrow, which is going to do absolutely nothing. And then we've got US unemployment. So neither of those likely to affect the euro or the pound at all. We've got retail for the pound on Friday. I suspect we'll probably get better than expected retail figures because inflation's come down. So that would be bullish pound, but it's not something really I think the market is going to pay a lot of attention to. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But first entry, Euro New Zealand, Big extension to the upside. 2 entries on that one at the moment. So there's your 4-hour RSI extension up at the 80 level. Yeah, same as that trade there. That trade there. There. Hourly RSI extension was yesterday. So first entry was there on that extension, and we've got a nice divergence gone in, bearish at resistance for the monthly. So if it does tap that monthly level, we're likely to see limit orders trigger there and then push down from there. My target at the moment is kind of sitting down there, a little bit eager. Reason for the target being down there was expected New Zealand dollar strength, which we haven't had. So I will probably adjust this up now into that propulsion gap. Now we've got 2 positions on. Yeah, so exit there, which will be 38 to 50% retracement if it wants to continue long. It may come down from there. It may come and tap that monthly high and then come back down from there. We'll see. That's the plan. Pound CAD. Out shorts. 150 ADR now. That was my target. Hit. 1 long. RSI's shot. Yeah. So we're down here. This is where we've been before. And then we pull back. So that was the profit take move. And then we managed to get a rally out of that. But yeah, this is a profit take move potentially for a new leg up. Don't think it is now though. Pound probably not going to be able to rally back out to new highs. Pull back on this M pattern reversal. Reversal alert. So pull back on retest on that before the drop. So that propulsion gap is where I'm targeting to the upside. If this does continue to collapse and just come straight through all this, it's just going to be a scaling job. And the more extended this gets, the better, because the faster that snapback is going to be and the easier it's going to be to get out. But that's really extended on the hourly, and it's just come down to extension on the 4-hourly. Look, in a week. Yeah, so we started the week massively extended to the upside. That's why we're short. And now we've, within the week, middle of the week, we're now extended to the downside. So big movement there. Pound Swiss, same thing. This thing's absolutely shot. 4-hour RSI is off the scale. You can see we've got some levels coming up here. We've got this monthly level we've just slammed through, which is last month's, and now we've got this low coming up down here. That's the 2 month ago's low. And then we've got 3 months low down there. So this area here potentially is where we would look for some kind of pullback. So hourly RSI, again, huge extension on this. We're down to 13, which is really, really small. S&P's just rallied out the highs. Or trying to, sorry. Dow's off. New propulsion gap gone in. I'm trying really hard not to close this because had a good morning, have a load of floating P&L, and I just haven't got any confidence in this doing two ADR days in a row. I don't know. It might do, but seems too good to be true, 2 ADRs in a row. But hey, we're going to go back into a bull market. Not unusual. So yeah, buys on this one. Got 3 positions on this now. These two very far apart because of the speed of that drop. So just scaled out of one of those today and scaled out of that one as well. So 2 drawdown controls done. Average is all the way up there, obviously, because we've had this big drop. So we'll see how we go on this. Looking for a 3rd entry on it. Sorry, yeah, 3rd entry. Pound Swiss? 4th entry, sorry, on this. Geez, disconnections. This one is basically 66 ADR. So that reversal alert's going to be 44. Bit too close if we get that one for another entry. So might take one there. We'll wait and see. But again, huge extension on the hourly, 4 hourly, massive extension. We know the Swiss franc is just on fire at the moment. nice multi-week squeeze going on at the minute, so it'll come back at some point. Just wait. Pound US dollar, someone wanted to look at. So that's obviously come down to the downside. Closed out the pound US dollar today here. So yes, basically I put a trailing stop on this one this morning just before the news. They spread me, took me out. Price never touched it, but they took me out before the drop. So closed the second half of that out this afternoon. We're very extended on the 4-hour. Hourly, we're even worse. We're below the 20 level. So this has got potential to come back down into here. Basically looking for a bounce out of this double top there, which means getting a second position on. So first entry's gone on, second goes on there, and looking to push back up into that area. At the moment, target is up in that propulsion gap, which is about an ADR from the entry. So if we go down to here, get a second entry on, average will come down, and then I'll target the bottom of that propulsion gap for the profit. And New Zealand dollar Swiss. So again, huge extension on the hourly. We're now just extended on the 4-hour because we've started to pull back slightly today on the New Zealand dollar news. But again, Swiss franc's taken back control. We're 125 ADR. So first entry on that one. Not looking to get greedy on that. Just back up into those lows at the minute and see where we go. Chances are this is just going to pull back and use the 24 as resistance on the way down. So there we go. So there's all your FX pairs. Gold, someone wanted to have a look at. So gold obviously is US dollar crossed. So at the moment, the US dollar is going nowhere today because all the focus has been on the pound and the euro pairs. So we haven't got any movement there. At the moment, it's just legging up at the moment on the US dollar weakness. So we've tapped into that monthly level. Potentially, we may find a double top resistance. So we sat in a range basically for about a month. Price discovery down into there for a couple of weeks. Now we're back up into that area balance again. So unless we get any US dollar strength or weakness, that's where we're going to remain. Targets to the upside for that support resistance there. So 150 ADR up into that propulsion, potentially. Or we're going to come back down and test that level down there. I don't know. No idea where the US dollar is going to go. And I've got FOMC next week. So we got unemployment rate tomorrow, which unemployment claims, sorry, tomorrow, which will give us a clue as to what the unemployment rate is going to be. But obviously FOMC next week on Wednesday is going to be the main mover for the US dollar. So we've got the PMIs on Monday. Monday is PMI day. It's going to be busy. Then we've got the CPI for the Aussie next week, and then we go into FOMC. So FOMC is the big one, followed by the Euro. Yeah, so it's all kicking off. Then we've got the Bank of Japan monetary policy statement. They won't change their rates. They never do, which is why it's the only rates you'll ever find in orange, because they never change them, haven't done for 6 years. So there's a lot next week of movement. So the market is positioning itself, I think, at the moment, specifically with this Swiss franc ahead of the Euro rate announcement. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But a lot of movement and a lot of opportunity, as you can see. Making hay. Putting back on the pound New Zealand at the moment. Sorry, one sec. Right. Dow has hit TP. So opening range break on the 5-minute there is 2-1 for me. My stop was down there, or still is down there. It will jump up to there in a minute. Which should jump up to there. So that's TP hit. S&P is really struggling out of these highs at the moment. So I think what I might do is might just close out the S&P. Just going to put a break-even stop on it, actually. So I'm just going to move these stops up to break even because I don't like the look of this NASDAQ. So the S&P and the NASDAQ move in tandem. The fact that the S&P's managed to break long and the Dow and the NASDAQ literally has got nowhere to go tells me that there's no strength in the NASDAQ. And if there's no strength in the NASDAQ, it's probably not going to move the S&P and vice versa because the S&P is not moving either. So we've sat sideways for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So that ain't going anywhere at the minute. If it does decide to rally, fine. But if it doesn't, I don't want to take a loss on it because I've got a huge profit on the Dow and I've had a huge profit out of the DAX this morning. So if this rallies down, this will come down back into here. Now, if this collapses today, that's fine. I'll flip short on the S&P. But at the moment, you know, this is partly why I'm always saying in here, expert advisors and EAs are fantastic ways to get you into the market and execute your strategies for you. But you're the trader. You've got to look at what's going on and make a decision based on what you see. At the moment, I don't see an opening range breakout getting underway on either of these pairs. So it makes no sense to go, oh, let's just hope. And if it doesn't work out, take a 2% loss. Made 4.5% today. So it doesn't make sense to take a loss as a little bit of a gamble because you can see that there's no pressure in the NASDAQ to the upside here. We've gone straight into yesterday's high, rejected it twice. Yeah, we've also rejected the low. So absolutely no signals to go anywhere on this one. This one has tried and failed. Yeah, can't get anywhere at all. All the money is going through the Dow Jones at the moment, which you'd expect because there's no earnings on any of the other currencies. So on any of the other stocks. So, stop loss on that one. And the Dow is obviously TP'd. So 30 seconds left on this candle, another bullish candle. Again, you know, I'm not sure I really want to push it today. I can't see us doing another ADR. Well, who knows? What do I know? Pound dollar, done that one. Bought VPS today. We'll set it all up. So not overtrade and keep 2 trades from currency. Then what I should with EA, because then when I put it on, it will take all trades, right? I'm gonna have to reread that one. Sorry, Peter. Hang on. My break even hasn't triggered. I'm going to bail this. I'm going to bottle it. I'm putting a trailer on it now. I'm not convinced. S&P is actually starting to try, and we've got 4 bull candles in a row, but I'm just going to bank this slot. It's too much money. I've made 10% in 2 days. I ain't letting it go. So you bought a VPS. We'll set it up today to not overtrade and keep 2 trades from each currency. All right, for exposure. Right. Okay. So exposure. If you are running the EA, the market reversal alerts EA on every pair, it will take the first trades it gets, right? So you've got 2 options here. One option, which is what I'm running on this account, is to run the EA on every single currency, all 28 FX pairs. But instead of using the normal 0.25% risk, drop your risk down to 0.1%. Or 0.08, something like that. Yeah. So the exposure rule means that we shouldn't get exposed more than twice in one direction on a currency. Yeah. So if you run the market reversal alert, say EA on all 28 pairs, you will get in everything. So if everything pushes and all gives a reversal alert pretty much at the same time, which happens because markets move in tandem. Sorry, wait with me one sec. I've just got a load of money in F futures I need to take off. $1,100 day in futures as well. This week these are the weeks you pay all the bills. It's fantastic. So yeah, the options you've got obviously are to run on every pair with reduced risk, or you can do what I tend to do on my account, which is use the dashboards. So it all depends on how much time you've got in front of the charts, Peter, basically. So for example, I don't trade ADR reversals with the EA. I only trade H1M5 mean reversion. So I use the RSI dash and I use the hourly RSI dash alerts. If I get an H4 RSI alert and I haven't had one on the hourly, it means it's been creeping like that. And which is fine, but they're not the best entries. So H1, I think, is kind of the bread and butter now, which is my bread and butter now. So with that, what I do is I wait for an alert on the dashboard. I get alerted every hour when there's an RSI extension. I wait for an RSI extension above the 75 level. And then what I do is I open my VPS and I put the EA on that pair and I just tell it to get me in either long or short and space my entries out for me. Yeah, with no RSI filter or anything. I just say, get me in. So I use the market reversal alerts EA in a very basic way. I literally wait for the alert. So for example, euro pound today, right? So I'll be sitting here and all of a sudden I'll get an alert going, ding, we're extended. So what I'll do is I'll open up the euro pound. Yeah. I'll open an M5 chart. I'll stick the market reversal alert CA on there and I'll say, go short and just get me in. And as soon as we get a reversal alert, I will be short. And then if it pushes, the EA will scale in for me. If it comes down, I will set the TP myself. So you can do it that way, or you can pick 2 or 3 pairs to trade with the EA in each currency. And obviously what you're doing then is you're limiting your potential to get in. So for example, right now on the Aussie dollar is a really good example. So let's say you're running the H4 M15 strategy. Yeah. And you have put the EA on Aussie US and Aussie New Zealand, because those are the 2 Aussie dollar pairs that you've decided you want to trade. You're flat because you haven't had any alerts. The Aussie dollar Swiss has given you a really good opportunity to get in today. Yeah, well, actually, it gave you an opportunity to get in back last week. But let's say that one you were in and out and done. So you've had an opportunity to get in today. You won't take that because these 2 are the ones you've got set up and you haven't got that one set up. So you run the danger you're going to miss the opportunities. So what I prefer to do, and it's kind of the way I used to pound US dollar 175 ADR, still coming down. Oh, just out on that. Look, annoying. So yeah, it's basically up to you how you use the market reversal alert CA. It's a tool to be used in your trading. If you want to set it up on full auto and say, get me into every single extension that we alert on in here and take every single trade, you are going to get overexposed. You're also going to get hedged, which is not a problem. If you're hedged, I don't see hedging really as a massive problem unless there's a real bias in one way, i.e. we only want to be buying the Australian dollar, not selling it. Like with the pound, we only really want to be selling the pound at the moment. But I don't see a problem getting hedged. And if you've got 6 exposures on the Swiss franc short, but you're using 1/3 of the normal risk, that's not a problem, is it? Because although we've got 6 entries, our risk is a lot smaller. So it's kind of like having 2 entries on. So if you look at all the Swiss franc ones at the moment, US dollar Swiss is in 1%, New Zealand Swiss is 0.09, pound Swiss is 0.91, Euro Swiss is 0.74, and a CAD Swiss is 0.55, and Aussie dollar Swiss is flat. So if you tot all those up, yeah, It's the equivalent of, I don't know, what, 1, 2, 3.5% in drawdown. Might call it 4%. I don't know. Call it 4% in drawdown, right? Because the Swiss franc has been doing what? Pushing like a crazy beast. So if we'd have just had 2 Swiss franc positions on, long, i.e. short on the Swiss franc, we would be in a similar position. But by reducing your risk and taking every single Swiss franc pair, you're going to get yourself into roughly the same drawdown. Nothing's going to change. The difference is you've got a cross working for you. So let's say, for example, today, New Zealand dollar Swiss, right? Let's say this morning when that news came out, the New Zealand dollar went 225 ADR. You are out of the New Zealand dollar Swiss. That is reduced by 1 because of the New Zealand dollar. The Swiss franc is doing exactly what it's doing, pushing like a crazy beast. But the New Zealand dollar's had massive news and that spiked like a lunatic. Let's say, for example, the pound today did the same thing. Yeah, so the pound Swiss has been coming down hard. But if that news had come out in the opposite direction today, the pound Swiss would have pumped, but all the other Swiss francs would have come down because the pound had positive news, that moves. So what you'll find is these will get knocked off as news events happen on these other currencies. So it's actually not a bad thing to have every single currency pair on. It's a hell of a lot more work for you, but there's a hell of a lot more opportunity for you as well. So with everything I do in here and everything I say in here, there's always a plus and a minus for absolutely everything. Don't use a stop loss. Yeah, but you're going to draw down. Yes, but you won't take a loss. There's always a plus and a minus for everything that you do. Don't get overexposed because you'll put too much risk on the table. Yeah, but I'll miss opportunities. Yes, you will. So if you're long the pound US dollar, you're long the pound Swiss, and the best setup in the world comes up on the euro pound, you can't take it because you're in the pound twice. If you reduce your risk down, you can get into that euro pound. Excellent opportunity. Yeah. So again, no rights and no wrongs. It's what it is, basically. US dollar yen. I might think about getting out of this. Got 0.5% to bank on it. He's still rallying though, so I'll hold it for the minute. Yeah, I don't. There's no right or wrong. You take your pick. But obviously, if you're going to get into every pair, do not use 0.25% risk over half an ADR, which is what all the set files use. Use less, 0.1 max. Yeah. But if you're going to get into just 2 pairs and you're going to stick to exposure rules as taught in the bootcamp, then you can use 0.25. Got it? Good. Just question your demo you are streaming. Is that 0.1? This account's using 0.1. Yeah. So this VPS here. When it decides to load. Any problem with VPSs? Dow's still going. While we're waiting for that to load. So the Dow's still running nicely. S&P has stopped me out of break even, and now it's starting to run. So I'm not bothered. The reason I've made that decision is because I've made that and I've made that. If I hadn't have made that and I hadn't have made that, that decision would have been different. I would have left that to run. The idea is to make money, and obviously I've made money, so I'm not going to overexpose myself. So this is the account. This is the VPS. So there's the US dollar yen. Sorry, that's the H4 account. That's the ADR. Oh, that's H1. Sorry, that was the H4 mean reversion account, which has just got out of US dollar yen. this is the H1. So you look at this, the settings on this. So basically, percent of balance to risk. Literally all I've done is reduce that from 0.25 to 0.1 and let it run on every single pair. So that set file I've put in the Telegram group as well. It's called Lee H1M5 mean reversion July 23. So that's in the Telegram group in the file section, that set file. So that's the exact set file that is running in the live room now. Sorry, did you go over EU? Did I? I think I did. So Euro US dollar, I'm short at the moment. So we got in this, again, it's just another perfect storm. Got into this back here, looking for a double top play and hoping that this range was going to stay intact. As we did that, the US dollar weakened. We had a little bit of euro strength, and then we had the US dollar negative news pop. And then we had the Canadian dollar negative news. And now we're stuck sideways. So we're waiting for the profit take move back into propulsion. And then it can do what the hell it likes. But we're looking for profit take on that. So you see my TP is in that propulsion gap. Average is there at 150. So really tricky average on this one as well. Distance between those two is 1.5 ADR. I think it's 1.5. 73 is ADR. It's 112. So yeah, roughly 1.5 ADR between those two entries and an ADR between those. So couldn't get in to any entries in there to help keep the average close. So this is the only downside, obviously, to big, strong news squeezes, is you won't get into your positions. They'll be much more spaced out, which makes the speed of the recovery more difficult. But I just want to make sure I'm flat on everything. Yeah, so profit take move is underway now. We're coming off of these previous resistances. Which are dailies by the looks of things. Why did I draw those lines? Must be from another chart. It's not coming off of resistance. Potentially it is. I mean, it's coming off of this area here. Look. 50% retracement. But we're going to need that to power up. Not sure that's going to happen. But coming down nicely. Sorry for frozen your PC because of me. That's okay. Baggy, just wanted to say thanks for all your live videos and support on Telegram. Cool. Been following me for 6 months, and you make my trading so straightforward. That's good. It's not complicated. Well, it is complicated, but it's not complicated. As soon as you realize you've got no control over anything, it becomes really easy. Starting to look like we're rolling over on the Dow, potentially. Got a big wick. This is looking very much like yesterday, isn't it? Yeah. We had one of those, then we had another one of those, and then we were at 250 ADR. Well, not 250, but 150 ADR, weren't we? Yeah, so we had the opening range break, flag, and then literally that down candle was the end of the day. Yeah, this is our first little flag starting. So Yeah, what was yesterday? 450 off of a 337. About 125, 130 ADR. So upside potential if we're going to do the same as yesterday. 5R, that TP is pretty much it, isn't it? So flag, break. Who knows? Hold it if you can. If you can't, take it. I'm going to hold it. We haven't had a black candle yet. There's not, since the initial flag at the open, we haven't had a bearish candle yet today. There's absolutely no reason to get out of this trade yet today. It looks like it might be giving you your first opportunity. And I'd be very wary about trying to mean revert this. You're standing in front of a steam train. So, steam train? Probably get out of the way of the steam train. You're standing in front of a freight train. Right, that's all for today. That's all I've got. Might bank some more of this. That aggressive drawdown control position on the CAD Swiss is working beautifully. So took this one yesterday, this aggressive drawdown control position there. Holding nicely and now popping. So this is the, I've got loads of videos on aggressive drawdown control on the website and on YouTube, how to do it, why you do it, what it is, etc., etc. But this is a perfect example. Yeah. 6 entries, 7th taken with the reversal alerts EA and the aggressive drawdown control position. So this is totally wrong. Absolutely wrong. This trade has been wrong for weeks, week and a half. To get out of this, I need 1 ADR. So what I can do, I don't know how much that is in drawdown control. I don't care. I'm up for the month, 17%. So whatever that was, loss is happened. So right now, if this hits ADR today, I can close all this out and just walk away with a week of pain just gone. Or I can hold this and go, this looks like it's on the move now. Let's see if we can get this propulsion target. That will be many percent profit. I don't know what it'll be. It'll be what it is. I won't get to it. I'm 99% sure because I'm not in much drawdown at the moment, but this is a little bit too risky to hold on to all the way up to there, because this could just meet resistance here and go into a range. And if that happens, I'm going to have a little bit of difficulty getting out of it. S&P 500 is just putting a big bear candle. That's the open break. We haven't gone anywhere. We are just stuck. Don't know why I drew an 8. What was I going to draw? I don't know what I was trying to draw there. I think I was trying to draw a no entry sign. But anyway, we've gone nowhere. Out of the Dow, rolling over. So there's your first exit candle. So potentially, if it's going to do another 125, take a break of that high, enter again, and take the second leg. If it's going to do a second leg, it might just pull all the way back. So the option I've got as well is to, with this aggressive drawdown control position, first thing I'm going to do is put it into break even right now. Yeah. So that's break even. I cannot lose on that position now. That was a 0.75% loss risk, basically. So now that is 0 risk. I cannot lose on that aggressive drawdown control position. So the worst case scenario, that can stop me out and my average will jump up to there. That's the worst thing that can happen right now. The best thing that can happen right now is I go away to my spin class in 2 hours and I come back and we're sitting at 200 ADR and I can close the whole lot out and bank another 5 or 6%. Or I could take this off. Yeah. If it gets to 125 ADR, just before it hits that high, I'll take the aggressive drawdown control position off and I'll use 50% of the profit on that, which is currently sitting at $900. So by the time it gets up to there, it's going to be roughly 2 grand, something like that. So I can take that 2 grand, pop it in the bank, and use $1,000 of it to halve that, halve that, halve that. And obviously these will be smaller by the time we get up there as well. So I can use half of that profit to do a drawdown control, which is what aggressive drawdown control is all about, reducing your drawdown. And then what that will do is it will bank me 1%, reduce this all down in lot sizing, so that if it does drop, it reduces my risk, reduces my pain, but also it will keep my average at a decent level that I'll be able to easily get out if we have another ADR day tomorrow and push up into there. So I will take profit and take a second batch of profit tomorrow off of it as well, making the entire trade massively profitable. There's lots of videos on the website in the free trading education bit. It's all free. I should change the name of that. It's all free. I should call it the free position trading bootcamp. The free, or just call it trading education videos, I suppose. I don't know why I put the word free on it. Everything's free. Yeah, there's aggressive drawdown control on there. There's that one there. There's how to survive a squeeze. And all three of these, actually, these are all three of them. And turn any losing trade profitable with aggressive drawdown control. There you go. If you want to learn about aggressive drawdown control, it's covered in how many hours? Lots of hours. 21 minutes, 22 minutes, 31 minutes. So, yeah. Enough. We're starting to roll over quite hard on the Dow. Sorry, on the S&P. So S&P is looking like it's going to break that low, which means we're going to test this propulsion gap. So we'll see if we get some buyers out of this. Dow, that area there is the break. So we might find buyers there. We might find buyers back at the open. It might start undoing yesterday. We could have an ADR hit to the downside for all we know today, couldn't we? Could do absolutely anything. Can you just recap US dollar yen? So thanks for the follow, whoever that was. Taylor, welcome aboard. Taylor Haraki. Good name. I like all the good names in here. Everyone's got good names in here. Mine's really boring. So yeah, looking for the US dollar yen is a difficult call at the minute. So we've hit support. We did a big session on support and resistance this morning in the live room. If you want to go and watch this morning's live room, we did loads of support and resistance work again this morning. It's just the most important thing you'll ever learn in trading, support and resistance. It's how the entire market works. So go and watch it. But we had the support bounce. So what we're looking for now is a pullback, potentially for a new market structure leg short, or this is a pullback on this leg long. Don't know which, don't care which, because as long as it pushes up, I'm out. So if it wants to do that, I'm out. If it wants to do that, I'm out. Yeah, so I'm in profit on it already. But I'd be looking for a decent move on this at the moment. A decent pullback on this leg down. So a shallow pullback is a 38 retracement, which is virtually where we are now. Yeah. So when I look at price action, when I look at market structure, if we're going to continue pull back and push down, 38 retracement is a shallow pullback. A medium retracement is a 50% pullback, and a deep retracement will be a 61.8 or 71.9 retracement. Yeah. So for market structure to hold, you cannot make a new high because that's a break of structure. So you need to go lower than that high. Where it's going to pull back to, you don't know. So if you stick a fib on it, you can go, right, if we're going to have a decent pullback, a shallow pullback on this, we're only going to get into this propulsion gap, and then we're going to bounce down. If we're going to get a medium pullback, we're going to come up into this propulsion gap and then bounce down. If we're going to get a deep pullback, we're going to come up to this propulsion gap at 61.8 or this one at 71.9. It's funny how propulsion gaps line up with fibs, isn't it? But anyway, they do. Up to there. I have no idea which of those are going to happen. If they're going to happen, we may well double top here and it collapses. Nothing is exact in any of this. Yeah, so that's roughly what I look for. If it's going to do a V-shaped recovery and pull back and go for a new high and annoy the Japanese by breaking that 145 level, doesn't matter, does it? Because it's going to go all the way up there. There's my targets. So watching it at the moment. Obviously, the RSI extension down here was the reason for the entry, or the entries. But I don't know if it's bullish or bearish, this US dollar. It's incredibly difficult to read, especially with the yen. The yen is incredibly difficult to read as whether it's bullish or bearish at the moment. The US dollar, the Fed keep changing their mind every 5 minutes. There is a potential now with the figures that we've just had for them not to increase interest rates as much as they were expecting to, which is going to be bearish US dollar. But the yen has suddenly weakened, which means that this is actually managing to get a decent market structure shift back up. Yeah, so there's your reversal alert on the hourly. Push, retest, new leg up. Put in a new lower low. Lower low. Now we've put in a new higher high. So we are now basically in an expanding wedge formation. Incredibly difficult to trade because this could now come down and double top. It could also just continue up from there. Possible to tell. So at the moment, I'm long. It's in profit. I can bank it. And I really should bank it, really. But if you look at my exposure currently, I haven't got much yen on, and I'm hedged on the US dollar. So I will be taking one of those US dollars off, leaving me still twice long on it. But at the moment, it's holding. So I'm holding it. But this is one of those pairs. And again, this is another really good example of why I can't give anybody any idea on what your targets should be. Because whether you close a position right now, that's $700. For me, that's 0.5% of profit. I've taken more than 0.5% in loss. So it would be overall probably a small loss stroke break-even trade. But I banked 17% this month and I banked 2% today. Do I really want to let this go back to zero? Or would it be more sensible to bank another 0.5% and get it in the bag? Because I've got some bits and pieces in drawdown. CAD Swiss being one of them that I need to deal with. I don't know. So I'm just going to watch price action, and I might well just decide if this puts a candle in that looks like that in the next 20 minutes. I might go, yeah, this looks like it's shot for the day. I don't want it to come back down and go back into drawdown and test that propulsion gap, so I'll just close it. And if I close it with 0.25%, close it with 0.25%. It's all profit, all profit. Everything you see here is unrealized profit waiting to become profit. How much it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah. Like I said, the other option is this thing just goes in the next 20 minutes, does that, breaks that high, and the next candle does that. I come back from my spin class and we're up here. That's going to be a much, much bigger day, isn't it? But even if this candle closes bearish, doesn't mean the next candle is going to do that, does it? Next candle does whatever the next candle does. So I'm holding it for the minute, but we'll see. You don't share the set files that are used for the ORB on stream. Yep, they're all in. They're all in the Telegram group, and they're all linked from the product page on the opening range breakout EA. There's links to the set files and backtest results. I mean, but they're all the same stuff. There's only with the opening range breakout strategy, there's only 3 things you can do. Yeah, you've got, and it's all explained on the website and the video here. Does it? I'm not sure if it does actually explain the pre-market stuff. But there's only really 3 things you can do with the opening range breakout EA. Yeah, so if that's the open, you can take the 5-minute candle before the open, the 15 minutes before the open, or you can wait for the opening 5-minute candle and take that. That's all I do. But the pre-markets, what I'm testing at the moment is the pre-market ranges. When they're really tight, they're not great to trade. So if you want to replicate what I'm doing, the set files are all there to be able to do all the normal breakouts. So what you see me doing today is all achievable with the opening range breakout EA. Yeah. This version that I'm running is exactly the same principle, but I haven't got individual settings for each one. So what I've done is I've coded logic to say, if the range is below a certain size, don't take it. That's all I'm doing, because I've identified that this is a prime example today. Look, these tiny little ranges. So that when the range is really tiny, more often than not, above 50% of the time, you get whipsawed and double-ended stop outs. So I've decided if the range is small, less than 0.8 of an ADR, I don't take them. Yeah. NASDAQ just made new highs. S&P is starting to roll. So break of that, potentially. This could go long here. It could also double top and just stay in rotation for the day. One of them things is going to happen. The 5-minute ORB is bread and butter. Yeah. So the 5-minute ORB long gave you at least a 1R. Yeah. The 5-minute ORB here, you would still be in it. Whether you choose to put your stop exactly under the low or you choose to put your stop a little bit wider, up to you. The ORBEA can do all of it. Whether you take the pre-market, the 5-minute pre-market, the 15-minute pre-market, or you wait and just take the 5-minute opening range, or if you want to wait and take the 15-minute opening range, or if you want to replicate what Tom Hugard does and take that second 15-minute range, which he calls, I think, the school run strategy, it will do that. Does it all. Then if whatever you want, it's completely customizable. But I can't tell you which one's the best because every single day the conditions are different. Today, I decided to put a trailing stop on that. If this comes down now and stops me out on that break, I would have been cross. I decided to get out. So use it as a tool to get into these strategies on autopilot, but make your mind up as to what to do when you're in there. Look at price action. That is how you need to do it, I think. If you let the strategy run its course, it will work long term. But short term, I think as a trader, you can get more out of it because you can milk more money out of it based on what you see happening on the charts. If you see a whacking great bear candle at the previous resistance, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that the reason that thing stopped there today was because we're at yesterday's high and there's limit order triggers. Yeah, you see this playing out enough, you know why that's happened. Doesn't mean it's not going to break out, but it means that it's going to have a problem breaking out. So if you see it hit that, come down, doesn't stop you out, hits that, comes down again, and you have an opportunity to break even that trade, you should do it because you're the trader. But there is no right or wrong, and every set file's obviously all available, whichever ones you want to use. But don't ask me which one's the best. They all work. All of them. I've tested them all. They all work. But not all of them work every day. Not down to us, is it? It's down to the market. But at the moment, because it's earnings season, you're going to get a lot of potential whipsaw days where it goes nuts at the open, in which case then you want to take the 5 minutes. You're going to get a lot of runners that go parabolic, in which case, yeah, you should have taken the 15-minute pre. But the 5-minute will still work in those conditions as well. But we don't know what they're going to be every day, do we? We had no idea it was going to do that today. Just don't know, do you? That's the whole advantage of the strategy. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know which way it's going to go. You just go with the way that it goes. You go with the momentum of the day. New Zealand dollar represent Taylor. You are from New Zealand, I presume? Well done on your news today that didn't move anywhere. Peter, looks like when new propulsion gap is created, then there is usually at least 1 or 2 candles in the same direction. Any EA on this in your plan? I've tested it. I've tested that theory already. For every time it happens, I can show you a time it doesn't. Yeah. So a lot of the time when you get a propulsion move, it will go. Yeah. But a lot of the time when you get a propulsion move like there, it won't. The problem is the stop loss placement. So it's an EA I've built and tested. There's one there. Look, propulsion break, stop out, collapse. Propulsion break, stop out. Propulsion break, stop out. So in there, in that one day alone, and there, those 2 days alone, maybe there. But there was 4 trades there, propulsion gaps, that basically just went like that. Yeah. So when you get a propulsion gap, what you typically find most of the time is you get a propulsion gap and you get a retest. A lot of the time. Then it will potentially go if it's going to. But the amount of times it does that and the amount of times it does that far outweighs the profitability of it, I found when I was testing it. It's something I'm going to look into a little bit more. I tested it on the hourly, Aussie dollar CAD ADR. Just hit ADR. I'm out of that already. So yeah, I mean, there is a possibility of developing an EA on it, but I struggled to find a setting that worked on it on the hourly. So it's on the list to look into more. We'll avoid the short for now on the US dollar. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you like it, take it. It's not really extended enough for me, though. I want it further. I want it up above the 75, really, before I get interested. So what I'd like to see, really, is a little bit of an accumulation and a push like that. And the RSI to pop back down to there to give it a opportunity to pop again up into there. That would be nice because that's a 50% retracement. See what it does. Yes, from New Zealand, Taylor. Lovely place. Spent 3 weeks in New Zealand, North and South Island. Went all over New Zealand in 3 weeks. It was a bit of a rush job. I went skiing in Mount Hutt. Then I went down to Queenstown and went skiing in Queenstown. Just before that, I was sunbathing in the North Island. And then I was whale watching in Kaikoura. And then I went to see the glowworms. And then I went to see the Phlox Glacier. Literally ran around New Zealand. Went to Dewtown. Weird place. Anyway, after that. Right, I'll leave it there today. So got some more profit potentially to bank today. I'm going to go through all my trades in a minute and have a look at what I want to take off. But it's all kind of starting to go in the right direction. So I'm kind of thinking of leaving it at the moment. I'm from 90 Mile Beach, far north. Don't think we went that far. We basically started in Auckland and we didn't go above Auckland. So if you're above Auckland, I never came to you, I'm afraid. I went Auckland and then down. And got onto the most hideous ferry ride I've ever had in my life. If ever you go to New Zealand, fly from the North Island to the South Island. Do not get on that ferry that goes from the North Island to the South Island. It's the choppiest, most hideous bit of water you'll ever go into your life. I don't know what happens in that little bit of water between the North and the South Island, but my God, it's like being in the middle of the North Sea. It's awful. Fly. We flew back, actually. Doing that again. Right, I'll leave it there. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group. Back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time. For the Frankfurt session, we'll trade the DAX again, see how it goes tomorrow morning. Overnight news, be aware of. We've got the Aussie dollar employment tomorrow morning. So we probably will get a decent move off the Aussie in the morning, and potentially the New Zealand as well. So we've had that positive New Zealand CPI figure, which the market really didn't bat an eyelid. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more up there. So we'll see what happens with that Aussie dollar. But bear in mind, if you've got any Aussie dollar exposure that you are in profit on, so check your Aussie dollar. I've only got 2 Aussies on, but if you've got anything in profit on the Aussie dollar, I'm not going to, because I'm hedged and it's only those 2. So, but if you did have something in profit, might be worth taking it off before the news and just making sure it's realized. Otherwise, it could go into drawdown, and once it's in drawdown, you can't take it off. So if you've got anything worth taking, take it. Same with the New Zealand's as well. New Zealand dollar will move on the Australian dollar news, and vice versa. So if you've got any decent New Zealand exposure that you've got profit on, worth banking. Yeah. So here on the New Zealand dollar, I can bank $140 there. I can bank $150 there. Yeah. So I can chuck, 0.3%. Not worry about it. Reduce that exposure down in case it goes the wrong way. Then my drawdown will be less if it does. So bank it while you got it. You can't get it back. Well, you can, but obviously. You missed the best part of New Zealand, far north. Yeah, I did. I did get told that as well. We missed all the bit at the top there. But we did Fjordland down, the bit at the bottom, which is a little bit like the bit at the top, I think, below Queenstown. But anyway, talk about that for hours. I'll be off. I'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, 7:50. Back 2:20 tomorrow afternoon for the New York session. Anything you need, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.